I feel like I gotta trick the algorithms because I've been trying to go live. Well, not trying. I've been going live lately with some powerful messages, and I just feel like YouTube is not recommending the discussion or the channel like it once was. I was getting 7,000, 5,000, 8,000 people up in here. And they were just gravitating to the message, and it was just growing, and all of a sudden it seemed like I'm being hated on. I don't know if that's an algorithm thing or a software issue, but it's something that I definitely think YouTube needs to address, and we're gonna address that right now by you hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, uh, and sharing the message today. That's the most powerful thing that you could do, because when you do that, YouTube is going to recommend this channel to other people who would care about this message. So I'm asking you all to do that, and I appreciate when you do that. And also throw 50K in the chat. When you throw 50K in the chat, that is symbolic of the 50,000 subscriber movement that we have going on here at the channel, which we know that we will get 50,000 subs, because I want 50,000 people to join me to have uncomfortable, controversial conversations. And that's what you do here when you with me, Boy Drew the Charm Guy. The title is a little bit misleading because it will seem like I am here to talk about black women or to bash black women in some way. And that's not what I'm ever doing on this channel. I picked that title to meet the issue I just said of YouTube recommending the conversation that I have. And it seems like in today's climate, when we're having conversations about dating or whatever the case may be, black women come up a lot and are used typically to gain some type of following and large discussion. Whenever I've addressed black women, it has always been in a manner of what I've said it's been about, which is to address who I feel are the leaders of our community. I feel like black women are the leaders of our community. So I feel like when I have these messages, I'm addressing them first. And I think other podcasts, if they have any type of wisdom, then that's going to be the case at hand too, that we're going to address black women. But again, I said that the title is misleading because what I'm really doing is I'm addressing the black family. So I'm going to address the black man too. I'm going to address everyone. I'm going to address the importance of why we need the family. I think we have a family crisis, and I think that it needs to be healed. I think that is the biggest issue we have in our society right now is a crisis in our community where we just aren't getting married. The marriage rates are low. The birth rates are high, very high, and we don't have. Hey, I'm not doing the troll thing this morning, man. Nah, I'm not doing that. So you can just go on and go somewhere else. Definitely not doing the troll. If anything, why don't y'all come in and like? Just hit the like button. Don't troll. Hit the like button. Let's get more people in here so they can see y'all troll in the comments. How about that? Everybody that's in here, let's get the likes up. Let's get it to 4 likes. We're gonna see who really want to hear this message or who just want to troll. If you're just tuning in right now, by the way, I'm Boy Drew the Charm Guy. Tune into the Charm Hour Live. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, throw 50K in the chat. We got a 50,000 subscriber movement going on here at the channel right now. We want 50,000 people to join us. Join me to have uncomfortable, controversial conversations. Today, we're talking about family. We're talking about family. We're talking about the importance of family. You got to look at, I was looking at this every once in a while I go down a rabbit hole and look at a lot of hood channels. And we just had Lil Ronnie, rapper out of Fort Worth, lose his life. All the drill music that has happened and that has entered into our community. First off, I want to say that is some of the worst music that has ever happened to our society and to our community. Something I heard Charleston White say about a lot of those kids is that they grew up in single parent homes and they grew up raised by their mama. They grew up raised by their mama. And they act like it. When you look at a lot of those rappers, look how feminine they act. Look how feminine a lot of those rappers act. And then look at how emotional they are in terms of tension when they have it with men, how they deal with tension. You know, to pull your gun out and make an absolute, decision on someone to end their life, or better yet, to go take your time to go find somebody because of what they made in the song, to me, is definitely something hyper emotional. And you have a lot of these young men that have grown up in single parent households, and they've only had their mothers. How do we not see that as an issue? That's a big issue in the black community. Especially for my generation. I'm a millennial, but a lot of the baby boomers were divorced, and so many millennials grew up in single parent households. And so what do? We kind of continued that on into the future. With I'm not gonna. Now I will say I think that black men have done a better job collectively being fathers to their children in this generation and the previous generation. But have we made anybody our wives? Have we taken on our wife? Have you taken on a wife? Before you lay this woman down, are you trying to take her down as your wife and take care of a family and raise a family and make sure that your family is in a situation that's going to be conducive to success, education, health, well-being? Are you doing that? We have this perverse generation where we have over sexualized women. Women have been a part of this, but we've over sexualized women. We're just getting with them. We having babies with them with no intention to take care of them, with no intention to raise a family with them at all. And then we wonder why we have all these issues. We're wondering why you having all these issues. Like you got Dr. Umar Johnson up here trying to preach to a community, trying to tell us what he gonna do for our community, and you haven't taken no wife. You don't have no wife. Your kids, you don't even take care of your kids. But we will let this dude be up here and be a clown and just talk to us and tell us what we need to be doing. Then he pocket checking other dudes, talking about they got snow bunnies and they don't need snow bunnies and they shouldn't be with white women. But all the black women you got with, you didn't even take care of them. The black women that you got with, you didn't even take care of them. How we do that? How do we let somebody like Dr. Umar Johnson come in and be the leader for us? And see, I think a lot of times y'all don't want to hear the truth. Everybody wants this candy coated message of what feels good, even when it comes down to relationships. People want these candy coated the candy coated relationship advice that you're gonna always be, uh, you know, you're gonna always be. What's up, Herd? That you're gonna always be happy, uh, in a marriage or in a relationship. See, I know when these guys, when these guys are up here and they giving advice to the community and they not talking about family, I already know where it's at. I already know what's going on. Go back and look at my videos, man. When y'all go back and look at these videos, and I posted it in the community several times, you will see what I'm saying. I've always talked about family, and I tell my story. I was married. I was cheating. I was practicing infidelity heavy. I was doing all the wrong things. I myself did not conduct myself as a husband and as a man should, and I suffered the consequences of that. But just as I'm up here trying to tell us to fix our community and how, don't think for one second that I'm not doing the same for my own family, trying to restore my own family because I believe that the family is going to be the most important thing in the black community. Hey, Harold, I think they hating on me too, man. My lives used to be popping. They'll pop a little later. That's why I need everybody to like and share. Cause man, it's like they kind of be hating on me. They be fluffing with my numbers. But see, this is how I know that what I'm saying is the real revolutionary talk. Because This is the message that they'll muffle. This is the message that they'll muffle. This is the message that they'll turn down. They'll get the algorithms to turn it down. But see, at first, everybody was just coming in. Even when I check my analytics, you know what I'm saying? What's going on, Miss Janice? How you doing? Even when I check my analytics, it's like I, all of a sudden, all my active moments in time is for my audience has changed all of a sudden. But listen to what I'm talking about. Look at the message that I'm talking about. So you'll let Dr. Umar Johnson get up here and talk that nonsense he talking about. Y'all, that'll go viral. You'll let all these guys get up here and talk all that nonsense that they talking about. That'll go viral. But when we start actually giving actionable item information, things that we can do, that message is muffled. It's just like with the boycott. Okay, they want y'all to go out and boycott to have all this DEI stuff in these stores, and it's not specifically pertaining to black people. I done got on here and talked about the civil rights movement and what it was about and how that was specifically about us and why we should boycott for reparations. That would make that makes sense. Why we need to consider ourselves American and take advantage of the American dream. But that message is gonna be muffled. That's not something that they necessarily, and I don't know who the they is. We can say it's spiritual warfare. We can say that it's an energy out there just muffling the message of righteousness, because at the end of the day, these are the messages that's the hardest to get out because this is the most impactful. You got a Jamal Bryant, you a minister, you a preacher, and you up there talking about who not to vote for and who to vote for and all of that. But at the same time, you had Cheyenne Bryan on your show talking sexual in alignment with the word of God. You didn't kick her off the show. These are the messages that are going out and going viral. I talk about politics on this channel. I talk about racism on this channel. I talk about a lot of things. But I've always made it clear cut that the centerpiece of the message is family and restoring the family and family restoration. I've always said that. So what I just said now is I'm going to put all content out. Clips, lives, videos. I can have one person in here. It doesn't even matter what that is. If I got a mod in here, go ahead and kick that Travinsky person out of here. But I no matter what it is, I'm gonna let the content live and I'm gonna just do it, and it's gonna be ups and downs with it, but I'll let people gravitate to it. But it's family that's going to rescue the community. I was telling a guy this um, in a debate on Facebook. He's saying he doesn't feel that that's the issue. How we gonna beat racism, white supremacy? How we gonna knock it out the way? Y'all think it's marching. Y'all think it's boycotting. Man, it's the restoration of the family. Because imagine what happens when you have a family that comes together. You're raising the family under one roof. You're telling those kids that they need to go to college and get a college education. Then those kids are going into the workforce. Those kids are making money. Those kids can put their money together, get into entrepreneurship. Uh, Parents, they can help their parents out. As a family, we can collectively, the money should come within your family. Why we ain't think about that? Do you know in the hair care industry we done spent $2.5 billion? Do you know as a buying collective black people have $1.4 trillion? How we can't work with that? So you'd rather boycott Target to get them to do what you want versus collectively putting the money together and creating some capital? We don't ask enough questions. Where are the black banks? You get one black bank, and then we all supposed to support that one black bank. Why are we not thinking a multitude? Let me go back to Dr. Umar Johnson because my homegirl brought this up. So I'm in Houston, Texas. You got a school brand called Kip. It's the KIP school. And they have several schools. We've been waiting on this nigga to build one school when he could have made several schools. He could have made it. Come on, Janice. I missed you, by the way. I ain't seen you in a long time, sister. But that's my fault, because I really probably should do this every Sunday. And I've been all over the place. We are looking for, I love what you just said. We are looking for an external approach to an internal problem. Exactly. Exactly. So Dr. Umar Johnson, you mean to tell me that we've been waiting on one school for 11 years, one school, and you ain't built a multitude of schools? I'm going to tell you what he been doing. Now, I'm going to give a little inside information. I'm going to give a little inside information. We have something called the Shrine of the Black Madonna here. And Dr. Umar, I know, has gone to the Shrine of the. This is early on. I've been knowing about Dr. Umar. I first heard about Dr. Umar Johnson through something called Hidden Colors, and that's by Tariq Nasheed. Now I do feel that Hidden Colors was good for the people because there was a lot of information in there that was used to wake us up. But a lot of people, like a lot of places like the Shrine of the Black Madonna or places like that, invited him in, and he went there several times. And I've heard that how flirtatious he was with the women there. There was something else that happened at the shrine too that I thought was odd. This was me personally, as far as like financially. Because them dudes got paid to come there and take up collection. Everywhere he went, he was doing tours, getting money, taking collections up. And what you do with the money? See, we think that you can just. This is what makes people afraid of black business. We feel like you can just take the money and do whatever you want to with it. And a lot of black business do that. They'll take your money. They want you to get the money. You got to get the money. They ain't got no accountant. They ain't got no square business, no real business to put the money in. They don't have no formality at all. They just want your money. And a lot of black business will do that. And that's what he was doing. On top of flirting with these women, hey, listen, man. I was out there in them streets messing whoremongering, man, with these women. The one thing that you gonna do on them whores is spend some money. I don't care. You ain't gotta lead with money. I've never led with money. I've even gotten gifts. But the one thing that you gonna do is you gonna spend some money. So how we believe in, he talking about he didn't, I saw one young lady on TikTok, which I believe her. Oh, he got to keep going to the IRS. And he got embezzlements, money being taken. And, he's tried to go to black contractors and that didn't work, blah, 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 blah. You fucking off the money with the women, man. You messing off the money with the women. This is why messengers need to be with a wife. Messengers, people who are going to do something with the community, need to be righteously with their wives. Why? Because surely, surely it's coming soon that if you not with your wife, if you not with your woman, and you got a message and you out here, where you think the enemy coming through? He coming through the lustful realm. And you'll never get it done. You will never get what you're looking for done because you're going to spend all your time chasing women. That's them preachers' problem. Jamal Bryant been a preacher a long time. We done seen him in the public eye for a long time. And you was cheating on your wife. See, let me tell you something. When I was out there cheating and doing all, I wasn't trying to be no preacher. I was trying to rap. I was already preaching. I was already living a lusty lifestyle and rapping about it. So it just kind of sin went right hand with that. But once I changed my life and I'm like, man, I can't do that no more. That's not what I want. That's not conducive for my family. It just the change came about. A lot of them dudes wasn't getting no women anyway until they got on stage. See, you got to be careful in them places too when your wife not around. I wouldn't want to be in church every day of the week. That's not we not that don't denounce God. That doesn't come against the Savior in any kind of way. We know you're gonna have Bible study. Maybe have somebody run that. We know you got single men, depending on what denomination you in, they're gonna have a single ministry, they're gonna have a children ministry, they got all kind of ministry. But it needs to be some righteous supervision going on. A lot of these men, how was you a preacher in a church over a flock, as you would say, and you was messing with the hoes? How was you doing that? The title is very misleading, but that's really not what we talking about. We talking about this. Because remember, I told you, YouTube be playing with me. They don't want to. I got to give something a little controversial for them to give me some numbers and have people come up on in here. But we are talking about family. And it is a man's role. It is a man's responsibility to pick a wife, be good to her, and take care of the kids. Because when a man is having sex with a woman, raw dogging her, that's intimate, feelings are there. You can't just be raw dogging these women and expecting that they not gonna catch no feelings, man. Cause you gonna get some feelings too. You might get some feelings and be very possessive of this woman and don't want her to go nowhere, whatever the case may be. So why you doing that with her and having kids with her and don't want to take care of them? A lot of men do that. Or you want to do this with multiple women and be having a message, and you want to have a message out here for the community, but you irresponsible. So you irresponsible in your own life. You can't take care of no children. You can't build a school because you screwing off the money, but you want us to listen to you. I'm gonna tell y'all something right now on this Sunday morning. I think one of the worst things that happened to the black community was getting up out of the church. I think one of the worst things that happened to the black community was getting up out of the church. Now I understand why it happened. I understand why it happened. Because when you had the charismatic movement come through and you had a lot of the prosperity gospel come through, it really destroyed a lot of those communities, a lot of those church communities. Because how did we turn into that? How did we turn into this world where we just having uh it's all about, you got Creflo Dollar. Is that even his real name? Creflo Dollar and all these preachers talking about money and all of that instead of the things that they should have been talking about. God will bless you. God will bless you abundantly. God will give you money. God will take care of your needs. God has given you a purpose. But to make it to where I'm just going to church to get rich, I don't think that's godly at all. And a lot of churches have done that. A lot of churches have allowed perversion in. They're afraid to preach against homosexuality. They can't do it. They're afraid to preach against a lot of the poor behaviors that we have. Now you have some preachers doing it. Preachers starting to go viral because what you're seeing is you're starting to see the black church. Let me tell y'all something, and I've said this before. Black people are much more conservative than they are liberal. Man, listen, when I be cooking on this channel, boy, I be cooking. I think I'm a cook. Black people are much more liberal, no, much more conservative. I'll say this again. Black people are much more conservative than they are liberal. What do I mean by this? I mean, we are conservative as in going to church. We used to believe in one man, one woman being married, having kids. We believed in that. We didn't believe in all those super left ideas. So when you see these preachers now kind of coming out saying things that sound a lot more conservative, that's how we was raised. Why we be acting like we don't know that? I'm not making this a political issue right now, but what I'm saying is we were a lot more conservative than we were liberal. Once we made that exit out of the church and we just got into these, hyper perverse culture, look at where the black community has landed. I'm gonna tell you one of the other things I seen it. I was kind of a part of it. As a millennial, I wouldn't say I was a part of it per se because a lot of your like Afrocentric idea, a lot of the quote unquote conscious community that kind of had already begun. I'm gonna say 70s, 80s, probably even the 60s. That kind of came about then. But of course, as a millennial, um, I was definitely involved in it because I was introduced to it early on. You know, Egyptology and getting into studying masonry and all of that. Man, that shit murdered black people because we trying to replace a moral compass. We trying to replace God with something that make us feel good and make us feel empowered, and it's a bunch of nonsense. None of that stuff told you to keep your family together. With what Dr. Umar Johnson talking about, E5, Tunde, whatever that stuff the King Kong of consciousness, what that got to do with a family? Don't you know that is the most important thing you can have in a community is healthy families. You want an abundance of healthy families because that creates a healthy community. Black people are struggling with this the most. Come on, Miss Janice. I like when you get involved and start preaching with me. That is the thing that's most important to us is the black family. But when you go outside of that moral compass, when we left that church and started getting into all this other stuff that does not benefit us in any kind of way, what's the moral compass of all those African spiritual religion using crystals and seeking out other deities and other spirits outside of God? Hey, go ask God. I can tell you this. I'm somebody who was, man, listen. Uh I just was, hey, I'm an explorer. What else is out there? But it comes a point in your life where you gotta go talk to God. Because we should be seeking the kingdom. When you ask God about what's going on, God showed me. God revealed to me what's happening. God revealed to me what's going on. What should I be doing? Where should I go? He gonna show up. He gonna show up. And when I asked God to show up, it took me right back where I thought I didn't need to be. Cracked open that Bible again, started reading in that Bible again, and one of the most important things we're going to see in that Bible is family. Now, family going to be dysfunctional. We're going to have some dysfunctional family. That's why we got to have God in it. We see dysfunctional families in the Bible, but they have to go back and get God in the mix. And God does restore. But when black people left that church and got into all this other nonsense, it destroyed us. Just like the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry has done a number on our people. See, when I said that hip hop and black culture was the most perverse culture in the world, oh, I caught so much flack. But we just seen Lil Ronnie and that baby, his young baby, get slain. Now everybody talking about, we gotta change. We gotta change. That's not the code. That's not the street code. It ain't no codes in the street. Who told y'all it was codes in the street? Where's the HR department for the street? Do somebody got a number for the HR department in the street? Because it ain't one. It ain't no code. There is not a code. If you trying to get out here and sell dope, there's no codes to that. You can get robbed of the dope. You can get bad dope. People can see you getting too much money. Your own crew can watch you get money and turn on you. Because the love of money is the root of what? What is the streets about? The streets about money. The streets about getting money. So why do we think that it's any code in the street? It ain't no code in the street. Boys will rob you so fast, you'll get beat for some money. Anybody. You think your right hand man right next to you is your bro and to beat you out some money. I'm gonna take a little bit from Grits and Eggs podcast on this one, and I'm gonna talk about just the streets just a little bit because this is all entangled in the black family. I'm going to talk about the things that are really bothering us. Why everybody wants to get up here and talk about DEI and have all these old liberal rhetoric, middle class white talking points. I'm gonna tell you what the real issue is. One of the biggest threats to our community is street hip hop culture. That is one of the biggest issues for our people is street and hip hop culture because it gives us a poor idea of what relationships are like between men and women. It gives us a terrible idea about getting money. Everything is a flip. Everything is a double up. Look at how we do business. That's kin to street information. Okay, I'm gonna go into a business. I want to buy cheap and sell double up. That's street ideology. Show me a street guy, and I'm not talking about these inflated numbers. I was getting 30,000 a week and all this other stuff. I'm not talking about these inflated numbers. Show me a street guy that has successfully made $100,000 to $250,000 a year, was able to save it, invest it, and turn it into something else, and not get his shit took. You're gonna be hard to find that. Do I know of some men? There's always an exception to the rule. There's always somebody who slipped through the cracks. It's just what it is. I know some guys that came back from the streets. I know some. It happens. But the majority of guys in the street trying to sell dope can't manage the money. You got to always take the chance to get the money. And a lot of times you're not making the money that you say you're making. I don't believe you. I don't believe. Same thing with rappers. Rappers do not make a lot of money. A lot of what you're going to see from rappers, or is their money entangled in other things, or they're doing something else to help them get money. But you just don't make a lot of money off rap. Street culture has been so detrimental. Entertainment has been so detrimental to us as a people. And we deitize them. And we also attach monetary value to somebody's character. We attach monetary value to somebody's character. So because that person has this or that person is doing that, then we automatically say, well, that person is something or someone that we should be listening to and paying attention to. And that's how you get into this Dr. Umar situation. That's how you get into this Cheyenne Bryan situation, where you listening to a bunch of clowns. Black people like degrees too, mainly our women. You know, I was on a TikTok live talking about something similar, and a woman got on there. Well, she got a law degree. Jasmine Crockett got a law degree. She's smarter than you. What? Jasmine Crockett has a law degree, so that makes Jasmine Crockett smarter than me. But Jasmine Crockett is up there shucking and jiving and playing a caricature, and you can't see that? Jasmine Crockett is no different than the big mama chasing after Tom on Tom and Jerry. Y'all remember that woman? Ooh, get out of here, Tom. Oh, don't mess up. It's the same. How you don't see that? And you telling me that she's smarter than me, and she code switches like a mug. Pay attention to her. Go look at her. Jasmine Crockett a code switch quick. But you telling me she's smarter than me because she has a law degree? That's one of the things that we heard a lot of the Liberal Party talking about was people with college degrees and without college degrees making their vote. You think the degree is a measure of intellect? We get caught up in that a lot. Status. Well, Cheyenne Bryan has a PhD and she's college educated, so she can tell people about marriage. No, she can't. Then she mix up the scripture. She get in and start talking scripture and be wrong as hell. But these are forms of entertainment. All that's a form of entertainment, and that's how we led. Now that I done broke that down to you, why you upset when the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party get entertainers to talk to you? Because they know how you talk. They know what you want to deal with. They know that you like talking to rappers and entertainers, and you don't want to have no group think tank at all to help you come up with solutions to your problem. They know that. You out here worried about Project 2025. You out here worried about the Heritage Foundation, but where's your Heritage Foundation? Why we ain't got no Heritage Foundation? And I'm not talking about the NAACP. We can put together a Heritage Foundation. We can have a foundation of black people that are intellects that we fund out of that 1.5 trillion or that 2.5 billion dollars that we have. We can come together and say, hey, we want to fund this organization to research the problems that we have in our community, and we need to figure out how we're going to get solutions to it. We can do that. That's what they did. The Heritage Foundation is a bunch of conservatives got together. Project 2025 is a bunch of conservatives. They got together and said, this is what we want to change. This is what we need to do. Somebody comes in as president. Here's the playbook. He could deny it all day. Yeah, he want to deny it. Because he don't want you thinking, hey, you got to be subtle with the strategy. You got to be subtle with the strategy. You have to be subtle. We can do the same thing. But we get mad when they want to talk to us through entertainers. Because at the end of the day, guess what? That's what we do. We love entertainers. Look at the depiction of our women through entertainment. All that shit is nonsense. That shit is nonsense. And when you look at the numbers and you look at the statistics and you look at where we fall as a people, we are last. But I see the correlation in being last with the correlation of births out of wedlock and low marriage rates. Because marriage is going to improve when two people come together. This is why I hate the whole 50-50. I've talked about this several times on here, but I'm hoping that all this is starting to make sense. This is why I hate the whole 50-50 dialogue or how much money a man got to make. Because when you bring it together, guess what you do? When you bring your monies together, you put yourself in a different bracket. And money is not an indicator of character. Look at this dude, Anthony Edwards. He's millions. Oh, man, hundreds of millions. Tell that lady he don't want to take care of that baby. I'll give you some money. I don't want to have that. I don't want to be around that baby. Y'all got to understand that taking care of kids is more than child support. I'm going to go back to Dr. Umar on this. When he up there, I've been paying child support since you was in the womb. Let's talk to Mama Smurf and Baby Smurf. That nigga's an idiot. He's a clown. Don't you know that taking care of a child is more than child support? Taking care of a baby is more than money. Don't you know that? Taking care of a baby is more than money. You got to check up on the kids. You got to see what they got going on. You got to see what's going on in school. Now they got cell phones. You got to look in the cell phones and see what they got going on. So you don't be one of them parents talking about, I didn't know what they were doing. Because you wasn't never checking up on them. I'm a check up on you. What you doing? Let me see that phone. Let me go in that phone real quick. You know, we black people. You know how it was when your mama opened up that door. What's going on in there? Out of nowhere. It take a lot to parent children. Let me go up to the school. I ain't seen the report card. Where the report card at? What y'all on the 6-week cycle? Y'all on the 9-week cycle. Man, let me go ahead, go up there and see what you got going on. Looking at the grades, then you find out. That's another thing. Their teachers, they'll flunk kids because they know parents ain't even going up there. How much of that is happening in the community? Dr. Umar, did you ever have to go up to your child's school? Okay, so here's another thing. Wait a minute. You wasn't taking care of no kid. You wasn't taking care of your kids. And you never went up to the school and checked on them. But you want to check on my babies? You want me to send my kids to your school so you can teach them how to be men, but you wasn't checking on your own baby. You wasn't checking on your own baby. So how you gonna tell me how to parent my kids? How you gonna tell me what's good for the community? You just an entertainer up here shucking and jiving. No different than I don't want to see you on Drewski. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see you entertaining. That's the problem with you Negroes. Y'all up here being revolutionaries, but y'all not doing nothing revolutionary. You just a joke. Did you ever have to go up to the school and bring up cupcakes? Just bring cupcakes. Light work. Bring cupcakes for the Valentine's Day party. Did you ever sit in a teacher-parent conference about your child? And his daughter seemed real smart. She's 21. She got, you know, that you can't get away from the genetics. He's an intelligent guy. The daughter seemed intelligent. But have you had to do that? Have you had to go home and govern your wife and govern your family? Have you had to do that? Have you had to go in and say, we're going to cut back this month so we can make sure we got money for next month? We going to do this. We going to make sure. Have you had to deal with the woman saying she want a Christmas? Well, you know, last year we didn't have a good Christmas. I want a good Christmas this year. And you budget for that. I'm giving you examples of somebody that's been married before, man, and that had kids. If you've never been through that, how you going to tell me what to do in the community? You talking about protecting black women and taking care of black women, and you've never taken care of one. Have you? Where's your track record of you having a black woman that you consistently had to take care of? You better off going to go get a white woman. You might as well. You looking at other men telling them that they don't need snow bunnies, and the black women you had, you abandoned them with some babies. You a sucker. That nigga is a sucker. Black people, leading people alone. Back away. back and I'm disappointed in Umar. I'm really disappointed in Umar because there was a time where I appreciated what he was doing. I appreciated the information. He was a young brother, charismatic, talking about the school system, and he had these degrees and whatever else the case he may be talking about, only to be a fraud. And all of our black leaders end up doing that to some degree. Now I'm letting Martin Luther King off the hook. I think he was doing that. I think he was getting a little bit of piece of change and he was getting something a little strange. They say he was drinking what, a fifth of a cognac or whiskey every day. I think he was under a lot of pressure. I'm excusing a lot of what he did because he was doing some work. Martin was at least doing the work, man. They did the Montgomery boycott, bus boycott. They did things that mattered. So it's easier for me to look at somebody like Dr. Martin Luther King and be like, I don't care what Dr. Martin Luther King was doing behind closed doors. Because in the end, he actually put his life on the line and lost it for something that would be beneficial to us. But if you somebody like Dr. Umar Johnson, why we talk about Marcus Garvey? What is Marcus Garvey going? What people need to be more educated on who Marcus Garvey was. What Garveyites? What the fuck is Marcus Garvey gonna do for us? What did he? What information are you bringing forth about Marcus Garvey that's gonna be beneficial to black people? I don't like the Pan African thing. It don't work. Why are we trying to be Pan Africanists when everybody from over there trying to get over here? So you think we need to go back over there when they trying to get over here and take advantage of what we fought for? We fought for everything we have here as a people. And you didn't got on here. Let me tell you something else we gotta stop doing. It's just social media. No, it's not just social media. Real people are getting on platforms and saying real things. So it's not just social media. And when has media not ever been an effective part of messaging? It's always been there. Whether it be when the printing press dropped and they can get out information to people to read, that was important. Information is going to always be important. Who's controlling information and putting out information is going to always be important. So to me, it is a feeble-minded person to get on here and say, I'm taking that from Javon Clark. It is a feeble-minded person to get on here and say that this don't matter. That's why you own it then. I know it matters. That's why I'm using it. And I don't have no desire to even have no I don't this ain't about fame. This is about messaging. This is about messaging and doing something for our community. But again, this brother then got up here and talked about Pan Africanness and building the school, which is really just a way to launder money and mess with them hoes. That's all it is. Anybody that gave that dude some money, guaranteed your money went to lunch, hotel rooms, gifts, and all of that. You didn't go to no building, no school. In 11 years, bro, you could have had 10 schools. We think that the actionable item is something that the entire community can see. No, the actionable item is internal. Like Miss Janice said, we're looking for external or an external approach to an internal problem. And what it's gonna be is fixing your family, making marriage great again, getting with your spouse or having a spouse. I know that everybody's not gonna be with their original spouse. You have so much. I mean, some people are widowers. I get that. There's a lot of variables there, but at the end of the day, You need to be with your spouse, raising your family. Even in the older age, you have to govern your grandkids. You still got to be there for your grandkid. You want that marriage to extend out to the end of his days. Appreciate that, Miss Jana. You want it to go out. You should be governing your children and your family to the end of your days, as long as you can. That's how we gonna benefit the community. Not taking advantage of one another. It's too much of that. It's too much of us. It's too much of that happening in the community that we taking advantage of each other. It's too much of that. Taking advantage of each other, taking money from one another, um, you know, swindling each other. It's way too much of that. But how can somebody tell you what to do when they not doing it? How can somebody get up here and say, "Hey, I'm all about family. Keep your family together. Make sure you know what I'm saying, you keep your children together," and they not doing it. If he's not taking care of his child, if he doesn't have a wife, how he gonna tell you how to really fix the community in the way it should be? He gonna give you some old BS like, "Oh, I'm building a school," something that we think is impressive, because black people thought that was impressive. He building a school. He building a school, y'all. Let's give him some money. I even thought then, I was like, how is that gonna benefit the collective? And I'm sure them boys gonna have to pay for the school up there. Then you got all them more weird ass colors up there. That RBG, man, I'm not for any of that, dog, because I don't think that that's black. I don't think that's black. We think we doing something when we doing that, but we really not as a collective. I'm not worried about all African people suffering. I'm worrying about the black people that's suffering here in the United States. That's always been the motivation. Why we worried about what's going on in somewhere else instead of our own country with our own people? We got boys up here rapping about, I gotta say, unaliving, huh? Unaliving each other and taking out each other's kids in the process. And you worried about what's going on in Africa? They will send money, U.S. aid, sending money to these other African countries and not the descendants of African slaves here, which would probably be much cheaper. Hey, they can pay out reparations. Please don't think for 1 second that they don't have the money to pay out reparations. They have the money. They don't want to. And nobody's making them. I would rather see the efforts of Dr. Umar Johnson along with other people talk about that. Same thing with Jasmine Crockett. I would rather you make that your issue. They have the money to pay that out, but they think that they're helping anybody black by sending that money over to another country. Hell no. Why y'all not putting that money right here? Gentrification is a big issue. Gentrification is such a large issue. It's displacing black people all the time. Why we ain't putting no money towards that? All those social programs that them Democrats were behind destroyed black families just by incentivizing not having a man around. Repair that. Come up with some incentive programs for lower income communities and families of a certain zip code that would help them keep their families together. Why don't we fight for that? There are a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit we can fight for. And I just named right here on this live that we will not do it. And a lot of times that's because we're led by other people in what we should be fighting for. We got issues right here. That drill culture, that drill scene is terrible for our community. It's terrible for our youth. Look at what it's done. Look at how many murders we've seen in the last, God, 5 years. And you want me to be concerned with what's going on in Nigeria? I don't know them. I'll probably never go over there. That's poor ideology to me, too. It's bad ideology to say, well, we want you to focus somewhere else other than the place that your ancestors fought to have you, fought to have for you, and fought for your citizenship here. You need to fight for your community. But how you gonna fight for your community when you don't really have one? Where are the men in the community? Where are the men in the liberal party? I don't see men. I see a bunch of women talking, especially black women. I don't see where the men at. There's no men in that liberal party. It's just women talking up. I haven't heard one real issue come up that would be really beneficial and helpful to the black community. Specifically. I don't want to just down Dr. Umar Johnson and just kind of like down to just dust, because I think that he has said some great things. But we've got to stop letting that type of leadership come into our space and take over, because it's not helping us. And at any point, they're not addressing any real black issues. And the politicians is even worse. I've spent a lot of time on Jasmine Crockett, but she's one of the worst. And somehow they have lifted her up to be a voice. What is she saying? But let's look at her background. She has no man and no kids. So how you going to talk about the community? Of course you don't care about gender affirming therapy. Of course you don't care about those type of things, because you don't have a man. You don't have children. So why would you want to address the biggest issue for black people, that if we fix it, it can start to propel us upward? Black people need to get married and have more kids, and they need to stay together. Just that alone. Get married, have more kids, come together, work, be educated, get education in the mix. Because two blue collar jobs coming together, you can be in the middle class, have more kids, put those kids in college, and then there you go. Just that little, just that, and that's not little, that's actually big. But just that one move and sticking to it will do wonders. But you're not going to be able to do that without a moral compass. You have to have a moral compass, a base. Take your kids to church. You ain't got to be no Bible thumping Christian, judging everybody, but take your kids to church and at least give them a moral compass. We don't even want to do that. So I ain't boycotting shit. I'm going to be in Target, Amazon, Walmart, any white institution. Why would I be a part of any boycott that does not directly address the real issue that we having as a people? And that's why, again, the dating conversation is such a big deal, because we are just honestly, subconsciously trying to fix an issue we know we have, especially people middle age. Because a lot of that dating conversation, I've said this before, it's going to be the 30s and 40s because a lot of people aren't married. So 30s and 40s is where you're going to find a lot of people like, damn, what happened? And yeah, because you got to be educated on, because you were told you could just have a whole bunch of fun. Do what you want to. Go be independent. You don't need no man. Then you got these brothers, these men who was told, I could just have a baby. I'll get my kids on the weekend. They want to be a weekend warrior. I'm gonna get my kids. I'm gonna pay my child support, and I'm gonna be a weekend warrior instead of being an everyday daddy. We got to get that too. That's a cult. See, those are cultural installs that we've accepted because we know so many people go be. Well, I'm gonna be with my dad on the weekend. Man, being a father is an everyday job. And now we've got resources. I got a group chat with my kids and their mother, who was my wife. And we're working on our relationship. I always ask people to pray for me out there. Pray for my marriage. I'm gonna pray for y'all because I want restoration in my marriage because I understand why I need it. And my kids. But I talk with them, you know. I make sure I keep a relationship with her. That's another thing too. You gotta have a relationship with them kids' mama. You can't go to war with her and expect that you gonna have anything positive going on with the kids. You gotta have a relationship with a mama. You gotta fix that to some degree so you can see your kids. But I ain't want to take this live over an hour. I want y'all to share it. If you tuned in live, I appreciate you. If you tuning in later, man, share the message. I think YouTube trying to block us, man. They don't want this out there. It don't matter. Cause we didn't did numbers on here before. We want them numbers back. So share the message, get it out there. We gonna continue to grind and let everybody know what's up, man. Peace. I love y'all.